This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, and today I'm going to talk about hope and change through the understanding of the complex societal system and the civilizational paradigm, or through empty promises. We might not be able to know every detail of every system that composes the complex system that we call society, and of course to understand the nature itself, the complexity of nature, of the ecosystems, because it's impossible to know everything, and it's impossible to recall it when we need it to for whatever purpose, because usually we are not able to recall every detail or even of every important point or variable that we need to explain or to communicate, especially when we use verbal communication, when we use oral communication. These limitations in terms of knowledge doesn't mean that we cannot understand how the structural and the functional how the structure and how the society functions as a whole, but also so this is, in my opinion, what matters if we want to make the political choices and if you want to acquire political agency and make change happen, not based in senseless hope, which means that is basically the management of illusions that are used by politicians as Obama, that look charismatic, that are well spoken, but they are not there to deliver any political any substantial change. They are the managers of a managed democracy in the name of the vested interests that have nothing to do with the collective interest, which means, by collective interest, I mean the interest of all of us, and we should not forget that the state represents all of us. The state is not something that exists on the ether. So we often engage emotionally, and we trust the wrong people because because we identify with them ideologically, or because they give us again hope in a certain change. They prey on our genuine grievances. That's what they do. They are experts, or they themselves, or those that write the scripts for them. The political speeches. they read from the I don't remember the name of it right now. By the same token, we there are there are these politicians. I don't even know, to be honest, if I can call Trump a politician. The man is a buffoon. The man is there to implement, if possible, his own capital. So he wants to use the position as politician, as president of the United States, to grow his wealth, to grow his capital. So it's a kind of position that he wants to use as leverage. And this ego is narcissistic personality or personality disorder, or whatever you want to call it, just makes him just is truly unbelievable. How, I mean, it's so, that's why if we do not understand the reality, instead of, it's not, or we just hate him or we love him, okay, kind of, and trust is wisdom, okay. It is what this means is these people that come as alternative, as outsiders, okay. So we trust these people, and we put blind faith. That's what people does. It's blind faith in empty promises, because these people are not that they should be there to tell us the truth. If I mean, first of all, we should define what does it mean to make America great again. You want to be part of the MAGA movement. That's okay. That's fine. But what does that mean? What does that entail? What do you want for America? What kind of society, of economy, of foreign policy, what kind of political economy do you want for America? What kind of, international system do you want? Economic and financial system. And that is very important. It is part of the process to understand our reality, the domestic reality, but also the international reality and the reality of the Earth systems, which we are part of it. Okay? We are not, our societies do not exist in a void. Our political systems and economic systems and cultural systems do not exist in a void. And we need to understand it structurally and also functionally, because we truly need to understand them in the sense that that only through understanding we can build the conscious the conscious understanding of of what we can do. What kind of change do we need? Of systemic change. If we go from empty promises in the so-called progressive side of the political spectrum, for example in America with the Democrats, to the conservative side in the Republican Party, even through people that are supposed to be outsiders like Trump, there is any possibility or hypothesis for real change, for systemic change. They will use political tricks, narrative tricks, ideological tricks, okay, to convince us that they are doing something. But whatever they are doing, it's not going to change, to bring any substantial change. Maybe only change for them. That's what they do. They have been doing for many decades. By making changes, legal changes and political changes that allow the few to accumulate more wealth, to hide more wealth, and to create more wealth out of nothing, out of thin air, to use for speculative purposes, not for productive purposes. From stock buybacks, by backing their own stocks, to do all kinds of financial engineering. Our only possibility is to stack with facts, to learn about the reality based on facts, to fight our own convictions, our ideological and political biases. That is the only way, because if you just buy into the bullshit they tell us, that everything is about, they are the communists and the leftists, they are responsible for everything, they will ruin society, our society is becoming communist, and if you buy into it, you do not allow yourself to understand that people like Trump or these neocons, it doesn't matter which kind of side of the duopoly they serve. It can be Anthony Blinken or J.D. Vance, it can be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because what matters is the underneath structure, is the systemic structure of the reality where we have to survive. That reality that produces the problems. That it is what we need to understand, not buy into ideas. That's why I'm giving the example of these two men that supposedly should be in the opposite side. They were supposed to be enemies, adversaries, political adversaries. Okay? And one uses open change a meaningless, a meaningless, uh, uh, meaningless empty promise, and the other one build a movement, the MAGA movement, which is also empty. And the problem is how this is dangerous, because this polarizes society, okay? And without having having any kind of solutions, political and economic solutions to change the political economy, to change the international rules, to tackle the banking and financial system, which is, since, if you go back centuries, you can easily understand that the one, I don't want to say that is the unique, okay, because it's not. The class system is the roots of the problems, but this specific sector of the economy, the banking and financial sector, these people use something that doesn't exist in reality. It is a cultural creation. It is an abstract creation. It's a concept. It's a legal concept that needs a state or a block of states like the European Union to support its existence. So there is no possibility of the existing money and the banking system and the financial system that is not backed by the state, by the power of the state to enforce the law through violence, through coercive means. And by law I mean the contracts, the private property, the proprietary rights, and all the rest that the law, the state is able to enforce, and also an international system, which right now is basically controlled by Washington, but is basically controlled through the city of London and New York. That's where the power, the legal power, the power to use the law against nation states, against countries, against governments, by private entities, to subjugate countries, entire nations. But that also is used to subjugate us. I mean, by us, I mean the citizens, in this case, the citizens of the Western countries. Such as the United States of America and all the countries in the European continent. There is a permanent and ubiquitous war to conquer and control our minds. And it basically goes from almost all the political and ideological spectrum. The only fringe of this political spectrum that has a really different view, okay, and and tries to show how the reality really is, to help us to understand the reality, is the far left. But we don't need to call them far left, because there are people that they are not really far left, but they are really dissidents. They are dissidents of the capitalist system, but not necessarily far left. But they understand the reality. And why do I say this? Because all the parties, all the factions of from the left side, from most of the center left, and liberals and progressives, and social democrats, and then the social Christians, and all the conservative right, and I mean all the rest, even the conservative left, all of them are aligned with this system. And so they are very powerful, because they have the means. Because it is important, this diversity, this and plurality, to a certain extent is fake. Is not totally fake, but it is fake in the sense that it gives us, the people, the sense, the notion, the perspective, the perception that there is no alternative. And we don't even we don't even seem interested in digging deeper and wider to acquire a comprehensive understanding of the reality, the systemic reality, the structural reality of the system where we have to survive, because we cannot live outside society. That's just, it is, even when you live off grid, or you don't really live out of society, and much less in this digital era. We are, most of us at least, too domesticated and commodified, or domesticated by commodification. So we don't know how to self-sufficiency and self-reliance is something that we talk about, but we don't really know what it means in reality for most of us, for the large majority of us. And when we imagine self-sufficiency and living in a farm and doing this and doing that, then I know, you have to buy stuff, you need tools, you don't know how to do most of the things, and even growing food is not as easy as it seems. It doesn't mean that it is complicated, but it's not as easy as it seems. And there are many things that we are just so accustomed, that we became dependent and addicted to. Like coffee in the morning, or tea. I mean, we can live without that. We can live without alcohol for sure. We can give up a lot of stuff. I know it. We can have frugal, and we should have frugal lives. It's much better for us, even for our minds, for a balanced life, for an emotional, and we should learn it. But again, I have to talk about that again and again. Everything needs to go through a conscious transformative process. This is not just by just thinking about it. That's exactly the problem I always mention. That's not about being intellectually aware of things. It needs to be much more than that. So so this is for most of us is not even we don't even understand the power of that tina, the power of the cultural and ideological power, the framing power, the narrative framing power that this reality, this perception that there is no alternative. We are controlled, most of us. Our biases, ideological, cultural, and political biases, do not allow us, keep us trapped in this cage. And we do not believe it. We do not, we deny it. Because we believe that everything we know and perceive is part of a process of free choice, which is a lie. It's totally incorrect. It's for all of us. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter if you are a genius. Your ability to perceive the world, our ability to the knowledge we have always limited, incomplete, full of flaws. So either we understand this or not. But can we understand reality to a level that allows us to know, to be sure what can be done, to understand the roots of the problems? Of course we can do it. But we need to be honest. And it's not only intellectual honesty. It has to be a deeper level of honesty. That's when we go into the process of transformative conscious process, which means that we voluntarily go through our assumptions and convictions and beliefs, ideological beliefs, and political and economic and whatever kind of beliefs, and we truly want to build, to make to see, is this true or not? Can I support this with facts or not? It's not only that we look for scientific or academic theories to support it. Is that we also need to use common sense. But not the common sense that comes from the people that we believe and trust. And this is the problem. It is for us. It is trust. I always use this tripartite. Okay, these three elements: truth, trust, and justice. But trust, again, is something that we need to really be careful before we trust the messages conveyed by, because the problem that we confuse, if we trust the person, like if we identify politically or ideologically with people like, for example, Obama, or giving again the example of Trump, the more you reinforce the trust on the person, the more you believe the worth of the message. So this reinforcement traps your analytical ability to deconstruct the message, the narrative, to allow yourself to have a critical analysis as unbiased as possible. So this is this kind of work, introspective work. It's not something that you do, okay, that you do a retreat to do it. This is also a stupid idea that people believe that you go to whatever sort of retreats. Usually people do spiritual retreats, and people believe that they change anything. No, you don't change unless the change goes through a process, a conscious transformative process, which means that you daily, as you do your jogging, or you go to the gym, or you do a healthy diet, or whatever, or you go to bed early, or whatever you do, that you have that you follow habits, okay, that you follow certain rituals that help you to change your behavior, or to acquire new behaviors, or to discipline yourself in order that you can concentrate in what really matters. It's not just, it's something that it requires to be a conscious process, but not a process that you can just, okay, this weekend I do it. It doesn't work like that. So, if you want to understand the reality of our societal systems and civilizational paradigms, you first need to learn to, if you are under the influence of Tina or not. Because if Tina, there is no alternative, rules your thought, your critical thinking, if it already frames it, you, of course, it is for sure, you cannot understand the reality that is where you live, that shapes your possibilities of having a good life or not. Okay, this is the first. Why is that? Because if you are under the spell of Tina, it means that you are already under the state of learned helplessness. Okay, you don't move, even if there is some possibility of free thought. You don't dare to do it, because you feel as if there is nothing you can do to change. But, and this might seem paradoxical, but it is not. This is the mindset that puts you in a situation that you buy into the alternatives that exist within the paradigm, the TINA paradigm, okay, which means that that you live in that you cannot see change that puts in that would end the TINA. There is no alternative framework, but you still believe in, you still have hope in change. Therefore, you cannot see outside of the box, solutions outside of the box, but you fall for the solutions that seem to represent change, okay? But they do not represent change. They are just part of a spectacle. This is the politics of spectacle. This is the politics of deceit, okay? Which is that you believe in, if you are more in the progressive side and liberal side, or social democratic side, maybe not, because it's too much in the American social democracy is already too much for average Americans. Means that you fall for Obama, and that all that framing of open change framing, ideological, cultural, and political framing. If you then that becomes discontent, and people know that I mean, there are always people still believing that Obama did things, I mean, did really good things and blah blah blah. Those are the ones that are kind of that they don't understand the reality, I think. And then there are the ones that only see their living standards go down, okay, in the rural areas, in the so-called Rust Belt, and in other places, and in many cities, that people lose their houses, that people don't have good paying jobs anymore, and things like that. That's the rise of the precariat, which is another interesting phenomenon, because it's also a phenomenon that disenfranchises us from political participation, from being part of developing the conscience of class. We are just random atoms, okay, looking for a nucleus to become a satellite or something, and then we just comes a guy, which is, you know, but this is already, I mean, this is prepared in advance. If you think that Trump is a outcaster, is just comes to become in the right time from, you know, like, no, this is just, I mean, this is you live in a managed democracy, and these people are selected before being elected. And that's why people, like in America, there seems only to exist these two parties. You cannot, there is no political life beyond these two, the duopoly, which is not true. But it cannot flourish. And you should ask yourself, why can't it can it not flourish? Why is that? Okay? That is a legitimate question. Why don't you vote for the Green Party? Or even for the Libertarian Party or whatever? Or a Socialist Party or something? Because there is Tina, you know? Of course, Tina is different from country to country. The boundaries of Tina, they are different from country to country. But in America, the Tina tells you that is almost life doesn't exist beyond the duopoly for the majority of the population. Therefore, you don't really, you are not impressed by these people that fight outside. You don't even care to listen to them or to give them an opportunity, because you just believe automatically that they are worthless. There is nothing they can do. So which means that the helplessness principle is working. That you think there is nothing you can do to change the reality, to change the existing system. So therefore, you cannot see a solution in the Green Party or in the Libertarian Party, you know, just a minority. But this minority, in the end, is not enough to change anything. We need to go deeper than that, because we need to go to the roots of the problems, the systemic roots of the problems. And this is exactly why it is important that we acquire the ability, not acquire, we have that ability, innate ability, but we need to train it, to put our convictions, our biases into perspective. And this is a process. You cannot expect change, that you change the dominant narratives that control, that shape and control your identity, how you perceive the world, how you perceive yourself overnight. It takes time. It just requires that you really take truth and justice seriously. Okay? Is that important? I mean, justice and truth is always relational. It's not about anything in absolute terms. It's a relation. It has to be related to something. Okay? If I want to know the truth, it's the truth about something. About a system, a subsystem, about a process, about a situation, about an event, about the interdependency, about the interdependency of within an ecosystem or between ecosystems, or whatever. It is relational. The same goes with justice. And those are principles and values that we need to train. This is not, it is not enough to know it. No, it's not enough. It is a conscious transformative process that require discipline, mental discipline, behavior. It is really a cultural and spiritual liberation process. That's another step we need to do, because we always think about spirituality as something disconnected from the body, from the organism, from the living organism. No. Spiritual liberation, cultural liberation, it has to be also political and economic liberation for social justice. You know, it has to be, everything is part of the whole. Everything is interconnected. Okay? Not separated. We have to learn this holistic process of understanding the reality. The reality, our social system, our social, economic, political and cultural systems, but also the natural system, the intersection, the need that the society and civilization is part of nature, or in other words, needs the physical support, the materials. It doesn't exist in the void. It exists in the web of nature. And this all together, that's why this is not just understanding one part, one pillar. We usually need several pillars to support a building. And knowledge and understanding is the same thing. It's not something that we cannot develop. One pillar just goes up until it falls. Okay? If you only have a pillar, if you put your eggs in only one basket, it's, you know, it doesn't work. That's why specialization is important in a technological and scientifically advanced society, but as the understanding for a humanized society, this is very important to understand. We can have these specializations, okay, to give us the ability to have a complex, sophisticated, technological and scientific society and civilization and economy, but we need to have a culture, okay, that is that is integrative, that is holistic. That's why we need a civilization that is not only ecological, it needs to be holistic. It needs to understand our not the interdependence, now our dependence, the dependence and the respect that it deserves, the earth systems that are the base for life and for the existence of the human societies and civilizations. And this is not theoretical. This is not that's again, this is not just about intellectual understanding. This needs to be part of a process, because this needs to be inscribed in the laws of the economy, in the rules, not laws, in the rules of the economy, which needs to be a sufficiency and reciprocity economy, a social and ecological political economy that follows precautionary principles as part of a culture of true liberation for the humanization of humanity, not the transhumanization of humanity, not the machination of humanity. We cannot learn this, or we can learn it But we cannot go through the process, the transformative conscious process, if we do not take it seriously, and if we do not want to really if we don't want to break away from the spell, the Tina spell. Okay? And this is why there are these fringe, political and ideological fringe, that is mostly on the radical left, because the values and principles and ideas this breakaway entails, they are really they have to go away from the orthodoxy, you know. And this is why so many people fail to understand why we need this political, why we need to be more, to pay more attention to this fringe that is so despised. And this is not by chance, it's not random. This despise is intentionally, it has been built intentionally since the Red Scare. Okay, it has never stopped. This rabid anti-radical left that is everywhere, you can see it now in the kind of preparation for a war against or on Venezuela. This is not because this is nothing to do with Maduro by itself. It's about what Maduro represents. You know, I'm not saying that what the Venezuelan regime is what is my political. It's how I see or other regimes. But you can see that if you are want to be honest, you can see that some governments, the leftist governments in South America, they have been the ones doing they produce some change for the collective good, not the right wing. The right wing are the ones that are able to prey on our grievances, but they don't deliver solutions for the many. I mean, the reason so many of us hate and despise the so-called left is not based in factual knowledge. It's not based in facts. It is based in fiction, because most of us do not do the homework, do not do our own research to find out the truth. Again, the truth is relational, as I said before. I'm not talking about an absolute truth. I'm not talking about communism good, capitalist bad, or vice versa. I'm talking about understanding the processes and the systems, and why things, if the facts, the historic facts, if what they told us about, if what we are told about the Soviet Union, about this and that, is true or not. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to imply anything. I'm just trying to convey a simple message. Do we really do the homework, or we just trust blind, or have blind faith, it may be better, in people that we take as truth tellers without again checking it, fact checking it, not through fact checkers, but by doing your own research. Because if we want to be free people, we need sound knowledge, sound ideas, we need sound framing, cognitive, ideological and political framing. Otherwise, how do we expect to understand the reality? With sound bites? With people that are looking for clicks? With experts and authorities and that they are the ones that are very well paid to lie, and they are the ones that lie due to ideological biases or political biases or private interests by the same token. So it is important, if we truly care about freedom, and there is no freedom, ignorance is not freedom, and disinformation is not freedom. It is the opposite. It is slavery. It is control. Because that's exactly how Steve Biko, let me see if I can remember the quote, the potency, or the power, let's put it, is the power of the oppressor is controlling the mind of the oppressed. This is absolute true. And it is more true because of the Tina assumption. Okay? If we assume that there is no alternative, and if we assume it not consciously, but if we already have been told repeatedly throughout decades, all our existence, that there is no alternative, which means that we do not think about it. It is part of our reality. It is part of what we believe is true. It's taken for granted. And therefore, it limits our critical analysis. It doesn't allow us to see outside the box, to use new tools, to look for new tools, for new intellectual tools, concepts, ideas, to have a different perspective, to build it, to create it, to use our creative imagination in this for the process of conscious transformation. So this is to me crucial. It is not. That's why this, that's why what I'm talking about is common sense. Again, it's. But this is why it's so difficult for many people, because we don't see ourselves as living conditioned by the principle of helplessness. But we do. That's why we behave the way we behave. And it's not, it's not about being physically, it's not about physical helplessness, it's about mind, cultural, ideological helplessness that we don't see, we cannot see. There is the walls, invisible walls around us, but they are there. They exist. They are encircling us. So, and we need to work on it, and that cannot be other people doing that work for us. This kind of conscious transformative process needs to be trained. It has to be done by us. The same thing as it goes for any skill that you want to improve or acquire. You need to train. You need to be consequential. You need to be disciplined. Otherwise, intermittency will make you. It doesn't break. You're still vulnerable to manipulation, and this, what I'm talking about, is the part of the process and principle used by the propagandists, by the public relations industry, infotainment industry, cultural imperialism. All these industries that basically are using resources, human resources, okay, a beautiful word, concept, I mean, and material resources, technological resources, and financial resources to only one purpose: perception, manipulation, to manufacture consent. Does it work? This is the question I leave for you. You think about your own life. Have you the feeling that have you been deceived? Do you tell me that you have not been deceived? That you think that you have not been lied to about how society works, about the economy, about the banking system, about law, about everything that counts, that is structural for our societies, that has a toll on our lives? Do you understand the concept of manufactured scarcity and class or caste? Does it matter? Or it's just a leftist fantasies, part of the left delusions, if you want to put this way? This is, we need to do that work. Otherwise, stop talking about freedom and democracy because you just don't even know what you are talking about. I have to be honest. You know, that's the truth. Okay, I will end it here. Thank you for listening. I will be back soon.